Hey everyone, this is Isabel here, and I am the owner and designer at Bauja Designs, and I do make custom-made clothing. But in light of our current crisis that is happening worldwide, and also too with the shortage of masks for our medical team and our other essential team members, everywhere they're asking for fabric masks to be made so that they can have masks to put their N95 masks in. It prevents their masks from getting all messed up and everything else. With that being said, I did reach out to my local hospital here in Georgia, and they do want masks, and so I started a little mini production of doing some masks for them, and obviously some for my family. Now, a friend of mine did ask me to do a tutorial on the face mask, and so this is the reason why I'm doing this today. Now, I did consult quite a few other tutorials because everybody has a way of doing what they're doing, and so I just found, took bits and pieces from different tutorials and came up with the one that I like. Now, just to show you what it will look like, this is one that I did a sample of it. This one doesn't have the elastic in it yet because I just didn't put it in yet. Now, don't mind if you see any brown stuff on the powder on my face when I tried it. So it is 100% cotton. This is the lining, which is also 100% cotton, and this is the opening for the team members to put their filters into, or their N95 masks in. So this is what mine looks like, and so this is what I'm going to be showing you all today. So it fits like that, and so of course when you put the elastic on there, there's two ways in which to thread the elastic, and I'll show you one of them. And this other one that I did, this one is slightly smaller than this one, so this was my first prototype, and I thought it was a little bit small, so I just made these just a little bit bigger. Same design, just a little bit bigger. I have it where the elastic can go around your ears like this, and some of them, depending on if I'm able to restock with elastic, make the elastic longer so it can go around the around the head, two rows of it. So let's get started and how just in the template for the mask. And so what I did, I came up with, there we go, I came up with some numbers for my mask. And so let me just drop my camera so that you guys can see my table where I'm working. All right, there we go. So I created these two lines here. Hopefully you can see them, in red. And what those two lines are is just to create the start of my mask, to make my template. So like I said, I put together the numbers for both adult, and so it's like a medium adult. You can always upgrade the size to make it into large, and I also have the numbers for a child size, but we're going to work on a medium adult today. And we're going to see how to create the lining and how to create the mask. So now this is just like the middle. This is going to represent the middle of my mask. Because it's an end of paper, I needed to have straight lines to work with. So what we'll do first, now my measurements are in centimeters. So like I said, this is the middle. I need for the entire length, I need 14 centimeters total. So I find the middle. So my line here would be 7, right? That would be the middle. So I need 14 centimeters total. So I am creating this extra line, this extra markings, just so that I can have a straight line. It will be best if you start off on a straight edge, okay? And let me create that straight edge right there. So I'll create a straight edge. So I need to have 7 centimeters on either side of my middle line. All right, and now I'm going to measure across. This is going to be the top. This is going to represent the top. So I'm going to measure across the top. It's going to be 12.5 centimeters, which would be on the bigger numbers are the inches, the smaller numbers are the centimeters. So I said I need 12.5 centimeters for the top. For the middle line, I need 14.5 centimeters. And the bottom line, where your chin would hit at, I'm doing 9.5 centimeters. Okay, so now I'm going to connect my points. Okay, I'm going to connect my points that I just plotted. And you would be left with that shape. Remember, the top comes out a little bit more than the chin. All right, so now what I'm going to do to shape the part for the face, the measurement from the middle line is 4 centimeters. On either side of that line, 4 centimeters. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, let me just grab my curve. Sorry. So using my curve, I am going to, the rounded side, I'm going to put toward the front of the mask. So I'm going to use that and connect both my points. Okay, so line it up until it meets up with both the points. And then for the chin part, I'm going to place the ruler like this. And I'm going to connect both. Okay, so you're starting to see how it's taking shape. Now for the front, you don't want the front to be sharp like this because that's not how your face is shaped. So I'm going to raise this. I'm going to raise this 0.5 centimeter up at the top and connect it. So both my points here is going to connect to the 0.5 centimeter there. So it's going to be a slight curve. All right, and then here I want an even bigger curve, so I'm going to do 1 centimeter. Raise it 1 centimeter. So find the middle, and you're going to raise it 1 centimeter, and you're connecting from the point in the middle line to the chin line. And there we have the basic shape of your mask. All right, So we're going to be cutting along this line, the curved line here, the outer curved lines, and the chin line. Now, you want to also cut out a lining for your mask. The lining is just going to mimic the shape of your mask. However, you want to stop your lining a little bit before the edge, because like with mine, which is not covered in makeup, you see it's in two pieces, all right, and they overlap each other so that it's properly well covered, so your filter could be slipped in through here. All right, so what we're gonna do for the mask, for the lining, this is the edge here of the mask. So what I want to do, I want to measure in 6.5 centimeters. Well, let's do 6 centimeters. I'm going to change the color of my marker so that you'll know it's the lining. So 6 inches from the edge, from the side here. Not 6 inches, sorry, 6 centimeters. So this green line that I'm now going to plot is going to indicate where my lining is going to stop. Now you can move it a little bit further back if you want to, but that is basically how I have mine. So this is where this part stops. But when you're making it, let me first cut out, because I want to show you how to create the lining. All right, so we're going to cut out the mask, and I leave 1/4 inch for seam allowance. Okay. So I cut it where it's 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now I'm going to show you how to get the lining. Okay, how to get the lining from this. Of course, you put it on your paper. And you trace it around. And when you trace it around, you are going to trace you're going to put a little mark where you want your lining to stop, but at the same time, of course, you're going to extend this, right? So this is where these 2 notches right here, where you want your lining to stop, but you need it to overlap. And you also need to have a little turn under seam allowance. You can either do 2 tiny folds like I have done with mine. You can do 2 tiny folds, or some I've seen you search the end and you do 1 fold. It's up to you. So I want my lining, while I wanted to stop here, I needed to overlap at least by 2.5 centimeters. So what I'm going to do, I am going to do the extension of 3.5 centimeters, because I need that extra 1 centimeter for trimming back the raw edges. All right, so this is the first part of the lining, here. So I'm going to mark lining. I'm writing upside down, so I hope I could lining. So this is the lining. Now the other part, this part from here to here, we also need, because my lining is in 2 pieces, of course, to create the pocket. So I'm going to match my lines again, line that up. And now this part of the lining, the end part, again, I'm going to outline. This time I'm outlining the other side of the face mask. And of course, I'm going to extend it beyond where the lining stops, right? And I'm extending it with the pattern so it will hold the same shape. So when you put it together, it will still have the same shape as the face mask. So I have my line here, my point here. At this point is where these 2 would overlap. All right, and like I did for this one, I did 3.5 centimeters extra, which is right there, and 3.5 centimeters right there. All right, so that's where I'm going to, that's my extension, and that's where I'm going to cut this line here, where I'm going to just mark. I'm just going to highlight in green. This is the overlap line. I'm going to put in a broken line. Okay, so I'll cut this out and I'll show you what it looks like when we put it together. Remember, now this one already has the seam allowance in it, because this is how we traced the pattern with the seam allowance. Excuse me. There goes my dog. And my boy is upstairs playing with the dog. I apologize, guys. All right. Again, mark where. I'm gonna mark. This is the top of the pattern, the lining. This is the top. Okay. So now you have your lining. I got a cap on. You have your lining now in 2 pieces. So now remember this, the broken lines. This is where your pattern overlaps. All right, but I put the, okay. So this is how it overlaps. So this, let me just simulate that it was hemmed. All right, so you're gonna hem both ends because you don't want this to ravel. Yes, it's cotton, and you see they have to wash the masks. All right, so multiple washings could cause it to unravel and get ugly, so we don't want that to happen. So this is where you turn back. You can do 2 small hems, which would be this folded in 2 and stitch, or you can just serge and stitch that down. All right, so we have the lining, and again, mark where the top is, because after cutting so often you can get a little bit confused. So I'm matching up both my green lines, my broken lines, and they overlap each other. Okay, so the lines overlap each other. So this is how the line is going to be. So in here, you slip your mask, the back, this is how it will look. All right, so it forms that one piece to go. If I can locate my mask pattern that I just cut out, there we go. So this is the front of the mask, this is the lining, and these two should match perfectly together. Okay, and that's it. That's how you get your template. All right, so again, the numbers for the template that I use for across the top that I showed you, I use 12.5 centimeters. The middle line is 14.5 centimeters, and the bottom line is 9.5 centimeters. And then to get the shape from the middle line, it is 4 centimeters top and bottom. And then you create your shape. You go out here half a centimeter up at the top, and for the bottom you go out 1 full centimeter, and you create your shape, and you have your mask. And of course the lining that I just showed you. Now, how do you put the mask together? Okay, so just to kind of stay ahead, you know, what I went ahead and did beforehand, and so as to not to make the video too long, I went ahead and I did have this other one cut out. I have the lining forward cut out and stitched. I did choose to top stitch my lining, and did choose to do the same thing for the mask itself. This one hasn't been done yet. And also I have a whole ton of masks. Like I said, you know, just started a little mini production. So I have all these masks that I'm gonna sew. All right, so I have them in 2 sizes, 3 sizes actually. And so I'm going to take one of the sides, actually, I left it over there. Okay. And just to ensure too that you don't get confused, so this is the side panel for, because you know the lining comes in 2 pieces. All right, so I have these here. So what I'll do, get my machine, and let's see if we can put this together before I run out of thread in the bottom there. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to top stitch, because this is cotton. The great thing about this is that you don't have to constantly go over to the ironing board to iron. You can iron at the end of, you know, the mask. So I'm going to just top stitch it. You don't have to top stitch it. This is just my preference, okay? Top stitch that. I have my mask also, the lining, so I'm going to turn my edges twice, really small, because I just didn't care to be going over, you know, back and forth to my serger. Do both. course, you're going to turn it towards the wrong side of the fabric, okay? I'll do that side. And now I'll do the other part of the lining. Do the same thing, 2 tiny folds with precision stitch. Okay, so I've done that. Now I have to put the 2 parts together. All right, so this is the middle of my lining. Oh, I have it upside down. This one is one of the modified ones. So, as I said, I want the main part, the middle part, to be over, to go over. This is one of my modified masks. So, you'd see mine a little bit bigger here, which I have to trim down. I want to make sure I'm putting it in on the right way. So what I do, I just secure across the top, keep them in place, so I don't have to worry about it shifting when I stitch, when I attach it to the main body of the mask. All right, so I do that top and bottom. And as you notice, I'm not even back stitching for this part, okay? Because it's just really a base. So what I'm going to do, go in and just correct this part of my mask, my lining. Because like I said, this was the modified one that I did. So your lining would look like this. This is the opening in here. The back side, looks like this. So now we're gonna put it together. We're gonna put right sides together. Make sure you have the top at the top, and I'm saying it because, you know, there are times when you could be doing so much that you realize you put a bottom and top together. So you see it fits. All right, so now we're gonna do 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. At this point is when you back stitch, all right, because this is the real garment you're stitching together. Do the top. Now you're gonna do the bottom. Make sure your seams line up. You still want to take pride in your work, so you gotta make sure it's done neatly still, okay? Again, 1/4 inch seam. So because it's somewhat at an angle, I do pivot. When I get to the middle where the seam is, I lift my presser foot and I would pivot the fabric to continue stitching. Okay. Oh, of course I ran out of thread. I ran out of thread, y'all, in my bobbin. Either way, it's enough for the visual effect. All right. Now, what you go ahead and do is turn using the pockets, the opening, that overlap space. You use one of those sides to turn your masks inside out. Okay. Get it turned inside out. Put everything back where it belongs. All right. So you have your inside. You have your mask turned inside out. Of course, you will, at this point in time, press your mask. All right, you can give it a little press if you so choose at that point in time. So this is the mask here. All right, basically this is what it would look like. Now what you do, so then I ran out of thread. Unfortunately, we have a finished one. You trim the edge. You take your edges I've turned mine like literally 1/8 of an inch first, and then like a 1/2 inch. Fold like this and just top stitched it. Right? That's what I did here with this. Just top stitched it there. And so what I'll do is take my elastic, get a safety pin, and thread the elastic through. I want to get, so you're going to thread the elastic through here. Okay, you loop it and you close it off. Put a little zigzag stitch to secure the edges of your elastic, and that's how you finish your mask. So I hope this tutorial helps. Like I said, this is just how I do it. There are many other ways out there to complete your mask, but this is how I do. So I do hope it helps, and we're able to help the essential services to help us in coping with the current situation of COVID-19. And please, please remember, stay inside if you don't have to go outside, and let the essential services do their job and help us to flatten the curve. Thanks, you all. Have a wonderful afternoon.